I could see people's mouths moving, but I couldn't hear anything, but I can hear now.
That's great. Well, we can hear you now, Jessica, so that's good. All right, we're going to give it about 1 more minute. We're going to start on time today to just honor the work. Today is not an intense content day, so we're going to honor the work, and we will record for those folks who are either a little bit late or who miss it today. So about 1 more minute and we'll get going. All righty. So the goal for today, welcome everybody who is here. And for those folks who are watching it on video, welcome also. Happy to have you joining. So today's session really is about getting ready for next fall. It is not a big new content piece today. We're just going to kind of get our mind square and see how we're doing in terms of getting ready for next fall with Inside Advance. So since we are in a group that's pretty small today, will you have a choice. You can either, as we always start with successes, actually, I want to talk about this for just a minute because we do start with successes and celebrations often because there's research to show that when you are in a gathering or a meeting or group and you start with something positive, there are actually some light ups in the brain and some responses to the body that bring the whole meeting into positivity. So just for you thinking about that for students, thinking about that if you are together in a grade level team meeting, that there's a good intention behind starting with a success or something positive to start the gathering. So if you would take a minute, you have a choice. You can either type it into the chat box or you can unmute your mic and talk about a recent student success. We haven't been together for a month. So what might be a recent student success that is important to you? And anybody can start or type in the chat box either way.
So my very most reluctant student wrote a 4-sentence paper the other day. So I was super excited.
Oh, that's fantastic. Fantastic, because we know even when some students can read or are learning to read, oftentimes their writing is behind that. Awesome. That's great. Thanks for sharing.
I don't know how. Just go ahead. I think we're unmuted.
Okay. Yep, you are.
Go ahead. Just talk,
Okay,
Vicki.
we had a student the other day who is very, very low, who actually started writing neat handwriting and actually a letter for each sound, which had never happened.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Oh, that is so exciting. That phoneme grapheme connection. Once those two parts of the brain start to do that work, that's a huge celebration. Awesome. So they were writing for each sound. That is fantastic. Thank you.
Wasn't
Vicki.
necessarily correct, but at least she had a sound correlated in some that was a correlation. It wasn't the right correlation for the time, for the rule that she needed to have, but it was an appropriate correlation for at some point in time.
Awesome. That's fantastic. You know, that's a really big beginning. Even just to have the idea that the sounds and the symbols match. I may not have the right match quite yet, but the idea that there's that one-to-one correspondence with the phonemes and the graphemes. Beautiful. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. Appreciate that. Students finally starting to show progress with their CVC words and being able to read them and write them. That's a huge hurdle, isn't it? When they can begin to blend them and begin to get those short vowels and get the right sound for them. and then be able to write them in terms of encoding. Beautiful job. Excellent. Good, good work. Very good. All right. Welcome, Cambridge. We are happy to see you. Cambridge, are you in a group or is there just one or two of you? I'm guessing you're in a group. All right. We'll see if they can respond. Ah, there we go. In a group. Yeah. Okay. That sounds great. No worries at all. There's not, and it's not an intense day today. So folks will be in great shape whenever they can hop in. All right. Thank you for sharing those successes. Appreciate that. And one of the things I love is that the successes you shared were about your most struggling kids. Each of you talked about your most reluctant student, your student who's beginning to do that phoneme grapheme relationship, students who are beginning to do that CVC blending, being able to encode those words. Those are students for a long time where we aren't sure, right? It's now March. And so I love that each of you actually shared about your most struggling kids or very, very struggling kids beginning to make some growth. Beautiful job. All right, today, our goal is really just to go back. Oh, there's thunder here. Sorry, scared me. We don't normally have a lot of thunder in Seattle. Sorry for jumping on that one. Our goal today is to just go back and touch lightly on the idea of Insight Advance, the idea of beginning to videotape yourselves next fall, having coaching sessions together, and what that looks like. So that's really our work for today, not really intense. So you may have had some successes already with videotaping yourself, not necessarily in this project. I know that when I did my national board certification many years ago, it was my first experience with videotaping myself, and I was nervous, and I would watch the video, and sometimes I would be appalled at what I saw. One day I was doing a science lesson with my students, and I said to them, gave them the instructions, handed them the materials. And then I remember saying to this little boy, it was an inquiry approach. And I remember saying to this little boy, I took the materials right out of his hand and I said, oh, here, let me show you. Definitely not the best science work I've done ever in my life. So you may have had some experiences where you've already been videotaping yourself, not within this project, or you may have been videotaping yourself a little bit in the project already. So will you take a minute? Hi, Shoshone, happy to see you. Will you take a minute, and if you are in a group, I would like you to talk about what are some successes you might have experienced with videotaping or challenges, or if you haven't videotaped yet, what might you be excited about or a little apprehensive about? So if you're in a group, please talk about them together. I know Shoshone's in a group, Caldwell's in a group, Monticello's in a group. So if you're not in a group, will you type them into the chat box? And if you're in a group, please turn and talk to your neighbors for just a minute about your videotaping experience thus far. And go. And it is absolutely okay if you have never videotaped. All right. Yes, I hadn't thought about that with COVID. So thank you very much. If I can draw you back together, great. If you are talking in a group, if you will just close your conversation and turn and join us, that would be fantastic. So I actually had forgotten about that with COVID, right? Lots of video recorded or taping lessons with COVID. Really nice job of reminding me of that. Thank you. And a couple of tips. It's helpful to have a camera that can follow you around the classroom, like the swivel, or someone record it for you. Yeah, but if it's not, it is kind of challenging to set it up so that you can show everything and everybody you want to see. Yeah, absolutely. The other thing about videotaping that I noticed, I did notice that with COVID, we all seem to be much more comfortable than we used to. Yeah. Cambridge mentioned that one of the teachers had to videotape herself, so she propped up the iPad but didn't tell the kids. Yeah, great strategy. Another strategy that I've seen is that the teacher will videotape every day or every day for a while. And they videotape so frequently, the kids aren't even paying attention anymore to the idea that that videotape was there. I think that was probably a common experience with our Zoom work and Google Meets and things like that with COVID, and kids are more used to a camera than they used to be. And we're more used to watching ourselves than we used to be. Yeah, excellent job. All right, so I want to talk a little bit about this project. There are many groups of you here. So the project is that there is a coach and a general education teacher and a special education teacher. And those identified general education teachers and special education teachers are automatically a part of the videotaping and coaching process. Some of you have coaches who that is their sole job, and many of you may not necessarily be the identified teachers in the project, but you are participating, going through the PD, receiving the coaching, just like the identified teachers. So that would be 100% okay if you are videotaping yourself, you're having coaching meetings, and sharing the work that is happening with the identified folks as well. And if there are any extenuating circumstances to that, no worries at all. We make sure everybody who wants to be is included. All right, so let's talk about this project's videotaping pieces. So you're going through the readiness year now. You are working through the modules. You are working in these collaboration calls. You attended the fall conference. You'll attend the Spring Institute. I think you attend the Spring Institute. Not sure about that one, actually, sorry. And then we meet every month to work together. Next year, those things will be a part of your work, as well as videotaping and having coaching sessions. When we do that work, we use the comprehensive decoding rubric. And the reason that we do that is multifold, really. It is a research-based tool. It has been tested and calibrated to be a strong tool that actually does what it's supposed to do. So it is a comprehensive decoding rubric from Boise State University. And the goal is to set goals and have our work through the month focus on those goals. And then at the coaching session, we provide feedback and dialogue and conversation about the work, about the video, and about the pieces on the decoding rubric where we set goals. So that is a major document that you use all year long in your coaching sessions, your goal setting work together as you are doing the work. Here are some important tasks for the teachers who have been formally identified with the project. Here are the pieces, and I know that Shannon has talked a little bit about it, so I won't belabor, but I do want to just go back and so you can get ready for next year. Videotape about 20-minute lessons. Hopefully you won't want the coach to watch all 20 minutes of those lessons. You may say the beginning part was a little jerky or rocky, or the beginning part was awesome. I could see just what I wanted to see in that first 10 minutes. Please watch the first 10 minutes of the video. You may want to give your coach a segment to watch from like minute 8 to minute 12, 15, so that your coach can actually be looking for the things you want them to. So you videotape yourself in about 20-minute lessons. Folks are typically doing that twice a month, and then they're picking the video that they want to share. And they upload that video. I think Shannon has worked with you a little bit. Upload that video into Insight Advance and click submit. And I'll be right there with the, yeah, let me check on that, Cambridge. You might be able to upload the video into Insight Advance and you click submit. So that's really important. We'll go over it again, but I know some of you are kind of playing in the Insight Advance work now. So hit submit, not share. If you hit submit, the coach can then use the decoding rubric while they watch the video and do a bit of scoring and a bit of feedback for you. So hit submit when you share with your coach. I always recommend to watch the video yourself and either make some comments in a notepad or make some comments somewhere. You can even type your own comments in, I think, for the coach to be able to watch so that you're ready to go and you have seen the video. And Cambridge, your question is really good. Can we edit it for the sections that we want to see? And I think you can edit it within Insight Advance, but I'm going to take some notes today. That's something for me to ask. That way you can just clip it, right? And you won't have to worry about that. All right. Edit in Insight Advance. All right, good question. So coaches, you get the opportunity to provide feedback and do coaching in 2 different ways. So I'm going to share how I always do this work. I always, watch the video and then I put comments into the platform in an informal way. I'm doing this with coaches right now, and coaches are sending me their coaching videos. I watch it. I put all kinds of informal comments inside the platform as I'm watching and thinking about it. Then when I have my coaching session, it's a little bit more, more specific, more focused with the rubric. And I have the rubric in front of me, they have it in front of them. And then we have a coaching session to talk about that video together. But I always want teachers or coaches to hear my celebrations, hear maybe a couple of my gentle considerations. And so I put those in the platform. Then when we have our meeting, the teacher or the coach has had time to think about it. They've had time to go back and reflect and look at the video themselves. They may have some questions related to what I said. And then we sit down with our time. So that is not how you have to do it. It's just how I kind of have put a routine together for myself so that I quickly give feedback to folks so they don't have to wait and wonder, did I think they did okay? So I usually give informal feedback. What questions might you have just about these ideas that teachers are going to videotape and watch the session, upload it, kind of talk about a chunk you want to watch. And from time to time, if you can, watch the video yourself beforehand, and then coaches, your role is to provide feedback and have a coaching session. What questions might you have related to just that process? Okay, no questions. That's great. Excellent job. One of the things that, oh, let me grab the chat box really quickly. When is this supposed to happen by, or do first year schools not do this? Great question. It begins for you next fall. Readiness districts and schools don't start their first year. Your work this year is the modules. It is to participate in the larger, yeah, don't be nervous, you're good. Participate in the larger professional development sessions, do these coaching sessions. That's already a lot. That's a lot for you to do. So videotaping and coaching, one-on-one coaching begins in the second year in implementation. We have found, however, that it's helpful for us in March or April, either way, this year's March, to start to kind of forecast the work and have you be thinking about it, have you have a sense about what it looks like, how we do it, and just what that work is starting next year. Yeah, that's a great question, Shoshone. You do videotape each month, at a minimum, videotape each month. If you were to say, I'm working on some things and I want 2 videos this month, and I really want that feedback, or I'm working on something right here in this chunk of the work, can I videotape twice this month, and then next month we'll still submit it, but I really want to capture this for videotaping. Absolutely. So the goal is that you videotape each month and have a coaching session each month. Yeah, that's really good question, Shoshone. Thank you. What other questions might you have? All right, if you have them as we go along, please just stop me, unmute. There's a small group here today, so unmute, put in the chat box, no problem at all. All right, so let's talk a little bit now. So that's teachers. That's your primary role there. Coaches, let's talk about the work that, oh, let me go back for just a second. I've been with the Cultivating Readers Project from the very beginning. And at the very beginning of this work, several years ago, teachers were so nervous prior to COVID, so nervous when we would talk about videotaping. They just said it was just the hardest thing for them. And then I think COVID made a big difference for us, which is helpful. But also what I've noticed this year, teachers are saying, when I go on on-site visits and I get to work in schools, teachers are saying, would you be willing to give me feedback on my video? And coaches are saying, would you be willing to give me feedback? So now it is actually turned from a requirement or a requisite activity to where people are saying, I really want feedback. I really want to refine this part of my teaching. I really want to reach this group of kids. So we are finding that we are now receiving more videos than ever, number one, but folks are saying, can I please videotape and submit, which is really fun. And then they get feedback, which is so cool. So coaches, you have 2 roles in the work. The first is to watch your teachers' videos and meet with them, celebrate with them, work with them together on moving their goals forward. That's one role. The second role happens fall and spring. And this is the first year we've ever had coaches do this. And last year it was a part of the project, but nobody was able to kind of pull it off. This year we have 10 already. 10 coaches have videotaped themselves coaching in a coaching session. And we'll take a look at several kinds of things here in just a few minutes. So they videotape themselves in a coaching session where they're providing feedback, they're coaching, they're celebrating with teachers and talking about goals and data and kids. And then there's something called the C-Lift. You don't have to worry or remember that right this minute, but it's called the C-Lift. And it is the tool that it is like my comprehensive decoding rubric. So it is what we're using with coaches for coaches to get feedback on their work. So when you're working with teachers and coaches together, you're going to use the comprehensive decoding rubric. When it's coaches and Shelby or myself, we're going to use what's called the C-Lift rubric. You will submit a video to Shelby or I, depending on who is supporting your school. And you'll do that in the fall. And then we will schedule a coaching session with you, just like you schedule coaching sessions with your teachers. So we'll do that in the fall, and we'll do that again in the spring. So I'd like us to take a look. And coaches, let me go back for a second. Coaches, any questions about that? All right, if you have some in a minute, just pop them in the chat box, no problem at all. At first, coaches were so nervous. They were so nervous. And they're far more hard on themselves than Shelby or I. And now they're saying, wait, can I submit another one? Can I submit another one? I want you to see this. I'd like your feedback on this little part. So it's been very fun. All right, so we're going to go in. Will you type in yes in the chat box? If you have an account, let's just do one at a time. Will you type yes into the chat box if you already have an Inside Advance account? And you might not, and that's absolutely okay. You may not have been given one yet. I really don't know. None of you. Okay. All right, great. So let's talk about that. Yep. Okay. Yep. No worries at all. I don't know. That's great. All right, so let's talk about what will happen for you in the fall so that you can be ready. This is what the platform looks like. This is when I have submitted a video here. And so this is what it looks like when you submit a video. And in the fall, Haley will provide each one of you who is formally in the project, and then I don't know about the other seats for teachers and coaches. I'm thinking they are trying their best to accommodate all seats for everyone. So we'll confirm that. So you will be given a login so that you can log into Inside Advance. In fall, we will give you, we will spend time just on this work. We will spend time with Shelby and I and Kaylee and Shannon, and we will work on logging in. We will work on practicing, pulling up a video. We will work on giving comments. You can see that the comments are to the right, and down below you can see the timestamps of where Shelby gave me comments in my video. And we will work with all of that. We will practice uploading a video. All of that will be done in the Fall Institute. And we will make sure that you are all good to go and not nervous or worried about the platform itself. It is probably my favorite platform. I do a lot of video work with a lot of different projects. And this Inside Advance is probably my favorite. SibMe is my other favorite, and Inside Advance has done a really nice job of making it super easy. So this is what it will look like when you have a video uploaded and then some comments have been made. So I want to show you, I'm going to stop sharing for a second, and I want to show you what it looks like. Let me reshare, sorry. Oops, sorry. My fault. I got a brand new computer and I'm still working with it a little bit. All right, here we go. Nope, that is not the right one. Sorry. Let me try one more time. Okay, here we go. Now we are in the system, so you should be able to see. So this is a video of me, and we're going to watch it for just a couple of minutes and see if there's any feedback that you think. You can give compliments. You can say, oh, I might have done this. I might have done that. This video is only 2 minutes long, so we're not going to watch for a super long time, but I would just like you to watch just with the lens. If you were going to coach me or give me a compliment about something instructionally that I did, I just want you to be able to do that work. So let me do a really quick thing here. I think I need to click on these buttons so you can hear it. Actually, I do. All right, here we go. Okay, so you should be able to see the video now. I'm going to make it big. And just jot or think about a comment or two that you might provide for me as I'm coaching. This is pretty old school. This was a few years back, and the teachers didn't have the materials that they do have now where it could be projected up on the screen. So we just made charts, and this was a couple of years ago, pre-COVID actually. All right, here we go.
You have? So you know how to do it? So here's how we're gonna do it today. Ready? My turn. Eyes up here. Boys and girls, I'm gonna say the word is friend. What's the word? Friend. Spell friend. Oh, you have to have eyes up here so you can spell it. Ready? Boys and girls, the word is friend. What's the word? Friend. Spell friend. F-R-I-E-N-D. Friend. Good job. The word is both. What's the word? Both. Spell both. B-O-T-H. Both. Good job. So when I go like this at the end, I want you to say the word. Ready? The word is both. What's the word? Both. Spell both. B-O-T-H. Both. Nice job. Woo, big one. The word is different. Ready? Spell different. D-I-F-F-E-R-E-N-T. Different. Good job. The word is kind. What's the word? Kind. Spell kind. K-I-N-D. Kind. The word is great. What's the word? Great. Spell great. G-R-E-A-T. Great. The word is place. What's the word? Place. Spell place. P-L-A-C-E. Place. Good job, boys and girls. I see almost all of you over here on your pockets, hands in your lap, saying the words. Good job. I bet this side of the room could join. The word is Ben. What's the word? Ben. Spell Ben. B-E-E-N. Ben. Good job. Last word. The word is house. What's the word? House. Spell house. H-O-U-S-E. House. Nice job. We're going to go right there. We're going to really fast. Ready? Word. Friend. Oh, yeah, good job. When I slide my finger, when you say the word. Word. Friend. Word. Both. Word. Different. Word. Kind. Word. Great. Word. Place. Word. Men. Word. House. Nice job.
All right. So will you take a minute and type into the chat box, if you were my coach, what would be some things that you might type into the Insight Advanced system to give me feedback? So what might you say to provide some feedback for me? And it can be positive feedback of things I did well. It can also be feedback for something that you noticed that I might want to adjust. I saw some things in there that I would like to adjust. So it can be either way. Feedback on a positivity or something that you think I might consider. Thank you, Jessica, for already putting something in. And if you're in a group, will you just represent some of the thinking from your group? What would be some things that I could change or that I did well? Yes. Thank you. I'm so glad, Monticello, that you actually wrote that in there, because that's what I noticed too. I'm not sure they could see all the words either. Yes, exactly right. That was appreciated that feedback. So I'm going to go to the top for a minute and then I will work my way down the comments. Students were engaged. By and large, they were engaged, and I was hoping to keep my pacing in a quick way so that my pacing would keep them engaged. Thank you for the compliment on the procedures were clear or seemed to be clear. It was the first time I'd ever worked with that group and first time I'd ever done that routine with them. So I wanted to be as clear as I could be. You are absolutely right. I think some students couldn't see the words. And I think the very students who couldn't see the words were the very students I had to draw back in for engagement. And so as I realized that, I'm like, part of that was my issue because I'm not sure they could even see, which gave them some nanoseconds to kind of squirrel around. Yeah, so appreciate that honest feedback. Consider adding arm out to sound out the word. Oh, I'm not, clarify that one for me. But I love the specificity of the feedback to consider. Thanks. Adding movement. Yeah. Did I give them the meaning prior to the lesson? So I did not give them the meaning. These were irregular words and the goal was pronunciation and to remember them as irregular or sight words and just to be able to put them into their memory. It wasn't vocabulary at that time, so I did not give them the meaning of those words. If there was a tricky one, I could have said at the end of the routine, boys and girls, let's go back to this word right here. What does this word mean? It means, and give them a quick definition. So that's a good point. Maybe a pointer to move my body away from the words. Yeah. Great job in correcting behavior, trying to pull them back together again. Great job to have them spell the word so they can hear it. So the goal is that they hear it, they say it, they spell it, they say it, and then we go back and read it all as a whole word one more time. Yeah, excellent. All right. Oh yeah, that's great. Thanks, Shoshone. All right, so that is an example of how fun this is. And as you get going and you are videotaping yourself either as a teacher or as a coach, as you get going and begin to hone your reflection, hone your goal setting tools based on the rubrics, what we find is that it is a process that actually grows because people are appreciating the feedback. Like I just appreciated yours. I really genuinely did. And it made me want to do the work again and see if I could improve and see if I could get better. Excellent work. All right. So now we're going to stop and we're going to go in and take a look at a video that is let me see if this is the one. Yeah, sorry. Let me stop the share one more time. Apologize. If I can get there quickly, we're going to go back in to a video, back into my video manager. And some folks have submitted videos to me and I can, let me go back here if I can. All right, there we go. So folks have submitted their videos, their coaching videos, and several of them have given permission for me to be able to show them to you. So this is, I think we'll watch the one that is, if I can pull it up for you. Sorry, let me try one more time. And if I can't get it very quickly, we will just go on, but I think I can. All right. Well, it is not coming up quickly. All right. Well, you can see, I'll just have you take a look here. You can see that there are videos that coaches have provided, and then I get to go in and watch and give coaches feedback on the work. Oh, there we go. Here we go. Let's see if we can get it to take place. Okay, here we go.
Okay. So, Kath, I am we're going to review using the comprehensive.
Oh, it's a little
analysis
tricky for
and
sound, I
rubric,
think.
About the video that you sent me.
I'm not sure you can hear the sound.
Okay. Your systematic.
Okay. So I'm going to stop right there. I don't want you to have to wait when you can't hear the sound. Yeah. Yeah. All right. I was thinking you might not be able to. Okay. So now you have just a little idea though of what it does look like when videos are submitted, and you can see them either from a teacher perspective or you can see them from a coach perspective. So now you have just a little idea of what that might look like. So that's Inside Advance. And we find that it's helpful in the spring for you to be thinking about it for the fall, to get organized, number one. Number two, to kind of know that it's coming and have it be forecasted. So here's what I did with my video. My video wasn't very long. You would want yours a little longer than mine, but my video wasn't long. I looked at it. I even wrote comments to myself or to my coach. After I wrote those comments, I clicked submit and I sent it to Shelby. Then, and the way that you do that, you don't need to remember this today, but I just want you to know it's very easy steps. You just click on create, you click on upload, you drop your video in, and that's it. Then you're done. And click submit, and then you're done. So a very simple process as you are working. So this is what it looks like when you go in there. On the left, you will see in advanced feedback, super easy to get into the system, super easy to click there. So really the goal today was to kind of forecast the work of videotaping and see what questions you might have, and then assure you that next fall we will work together to be able to put our videotaping together and do the work. So what questions might you have for what questions might you have that are still remaining for videotaping? And it's okay if you don't have any. I just want to give you some space. Any other questions on videotaping and doing that work, getting ready for the fall? All right. All right. Awesome job. Well,